Welcome to Goals Daily Transfer Show. I'm joined here by Peter Staunton, who I'm still a little bit bitter about the fact that he beat me on FIFA yesterday. But we're going to talk a little bit about transfers that have been going on in the last 24 hours in our daily show. We're going to kick off with a little bit of a chat about Arsenal's supposed fire sale coming off the back of Arsenal correspondent.
He's not chief yet.
You're the chief correspondent, Arsenal correspondent Chris Wheatley. His story yesterday about how basically Arsenal are intending to get rid of a lot of their players in 2018. So let's talk a bit about that. So Alexis Sanchez is one of the most obvious ones that everyone's talking about. At this point, it pretty much seems like he's definitely going to leave, doesn't it?
Yeah, it looks to be a matter of days. The stories that Chris, our Arsenal correspondent, and Sam, our Man City correspondent, the updates that they're giving us every day suggest that their two clubs are meeting in the middle on that crucial issue now of price. Personal terms will not be a problem for Alexis Sanchez. To go to Man City. In fact, there's even a report out there that he's going to waive a massive signing-on fee by not signing as a free transfer, but instead signing as an Arsenal player this winter. So there should be no problem with the personal terms. Man City wanted to pay something like 20 million. Arsenal wanted something like 35 million. So
it's going to be in the middle.
They're going to come closer together, and I think every party will be satisfied with the outcome come the end of the January transfer window.
And Alexis Sanchez isn't the only one who is talk of the town in terms of going to be leaving. So Francis Coquelin is another.
Yes.
Who's been surplus to requirements. Apparently Valencia are interested, not willing to pay the 10 million euros that Arsenal would like, but there seems to be a bit of talk about a loan with a obligation to buy at the end of it. Are you a rater or hater of Coquelin?
I'm a rater of Coquelin, yeah.
Does his job well.
But, a lot of the problem that Arsenal have is that they seem to be caught between two stools all the time, and that the players that are good enough to play for Arsenal always end up wanting to leave, and then the ones that aren't good enough, they're the ones that end up sticking around. And maybe Arsene Wenger, for the sake of his own future, I know he's not got too much longer left at Arsenal, but for the sake of his own future, he's got to cut some of these guys loose who've continued letting down. I mean, he brings players in at quite a... there was that season a few years back where they just brought in Peter Cech over the course of the summer. But generally, he signs quite well, but then he's quite loyal to these guys that come in, and they don't really give him that support back in kind, as in through consistency of performances.
In terms of inconsistency, Theo Walcott is another one who has been linked.
He's one he should have been gone a long time ago. For a club of Arsenal's ambitions, Walcott to be there so long and be such a high earner at the club, he's never really justified the faith that Wenger's had in him. And look around the other top six clubs: your Spurs, your Chelsea's, the Manchester clubs, Liverpool. Would Walcott get a game at any of those six clubs? The answer is definitely not. He's going to tumble down the way. He's going to be at the mediocre clubs, your Southamptons, your Evertons, at that kind of level. And
Olivier Giroud is another one who it seems like has fallen out of favour. Obviously, with Alexandre Lacazette signing in the summer, he's pretty much... last season, he was coming off the bench a little bit and scoring them goals and maybe winning a few matches. This season, aside from a couple of games off the top of my head, Leicester at the start of the season, he started.
Well, his minutes to goals for Arsenal has always been quite good. But again, is he that elite level striker that Arsenal need to get them to the top level? He's absolutely not that. He's gone through his best years at Arsenal, and he's never really managed to get himself to that world class level. And again, for a club of Arsenal's ambitions, Wenger just needs to be more ruthless with these guys and get rid, because they haven't been performing for him.
And in terms of people that Arsenal do want to keep, it seems like Mesut Ozil is in line for a contract offer, and Jack Wilshere.
Yes, and I think this would be a good idea on both counts. Wilshere, he was drifting last year at Bournemouth, wasn't even a key player for them. And all of a sudden he's come back into the Arsenal team, and he's edging towards that player that Arsenal always hoped that he would become. However, I can understand Arsenal's reservations on the contract, because obviously Jack Wilshere would like a contract that's befitting of his stature as an England international, regular in Arsenal's midfield. Whereas Wenger and Arsenal are probably thinking, you know what, you haven't been consistent for us because of your injuries, so we're going to give you almost a tester contract, and if this one goes well, then you might get your big one. So I can understand why they're a little bit far apart at the moment, because they probably don't trust Wilshere to keep fit for the full term of his contract. He's got to prove that to them before he gets rewarded.
It's interesting because Chris Wheatley put out a tweet back in October essentially asking Arsenal fans if they'd rather get rid of Ozil or if they'd rather get rid of Sanchez, and pretty comfortably they would rather have got rid of Ozil. Now he asked the same question a couple of days ago, and it pretty much the roles have switched. They want Sanchez out, they want Ozil.
It was 2/3 one way, and now it's 2/3 the other.
Yeah.
But Ozil has kept his head down, and he's got on with his football, and he's probably he's the best playmaker in the league. And he's given Arsenal everything. I know that Wenger, he treats them probably a little bit better than the rest of the players. You know, he gets FA Cup games off, he gets the odd league game off here and there. He didn't have such a busy Christmas himself, Mesut Ozil.
He was a little bit injured though, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was, but you know, it doesn't take much to keep him out of the team. I think Wenger is quite conscious of the fact that he wants to keep him as fresh as possible for the big games. But honestly, if I had to keep one player out of Ozil and Sanchez, it would be no question I would keep Ozil.
Really?
Yeah, I think he's got more technique. I think he's more creative, a more intelligent player. But then again, if I was Pep Guardiola, would I rather Sergio Aguero or Alexis Sanchez? Well, Pep seems to be edging towards he'd rather Alexis than Aguero. But again, for me, it's no contest. I think Aguero is a far superior footballer. But maybe it's just in the Guardiola system. He's not going to give Pep exactly what he wants.
Let us know in the comment section if you would rather have Ozil in your Arsenal team or Alexis Sanchez. We do already have a few top user comments that have come in. I'll read a few of them out now. We've got one from Maduke, says, how can Arsenal sell to Man City? They have a rich history of it in the past few years.
Well, they have, yeah. Arsenal can't be too fussy about who they sell to because if you look down throughout since they've moved to the Emirates, really, you know, they've been littered with big sales. Fabregas is gone. Obviously, Robin van Persie is gone. Adebayor is gone. I'm probably leaving out even bigger ones there. Thierry Henry, of course, is gone. Yeah. You know, they can't get too fussy about who they sell to. And they've been pushed into a corner here with Sanchez. The contract wasn't renewed. If it was going to be renewed, it should have been done probably 12 to 18 months ago. Yeah. To get it to 6 months left before the contract runs out is negligent on Arsenal's part. You need to protect the asset, make sure that you're going to maximise your income off the back of that. So they've been forced into a corner. I mean, if Spurs come in for Sanchez at this stage and City drop their interest, they'd probably have to sell to them as well, or otherwise they're going to lose him for free.
Ronan Murphy said that Alexis is right to move to Man City. He'll never win anything with Arsenal. An FA Cup every 2 or 3 years isn't enough for a player of his calibre.
I agree with that wholeheartedly. And one thing that cannot be discounted here is probably the influence from Sanchez's international colleagues. I mean, you look around Claudio Bravo, Arturo Vidal, guys like this who he's grown up with and won Copa Americas with Chile. You know, they're playing for Bayern, they're playing for Barcelona, and Bravo now playing for Man City. And they've won everything. You know, there's Champions Leagues there, there's numerous league titles there. But Alexis Sanchez, his club trophy cabinet is quite skinny compared to some of those other guys. It's not befitting of a player of his standard. So he does need to elevate himself into a club that's going to challenge for those trophies. And hand on heart, is that going to happen at Arsenal? No. I backed him to win the league at the start of the season. I thought, here we go. Really Wenger's going to do it. He's going to pull it out. But then I think they lost to Stoke like on the second weekend or something. I thought, why? And I was just waiting for the backlash. But Wenger let me down. He let me down. I thought he'd changed, and he hadn't.
So speaking of players who've left one club who've been contending for titles to leave for another club who are definitely going to win titles, Philippe Coutinho completed his move to Barcelona yesterday.
He certainly did.
He did. It was a sort of weekend deal, but Barca finally presented him yesterday, had his medical, failed it a little bit, but they let him in anyway. It's fair to say that a lot of the Liverpool fan reaction wasn't particularly positive, even after he released a statement, essentially thanking Liverpool fans for everything, wishing them well, saying he thought they were going to win trophies. One fan called it a pure PR stunt, and a few eagle-eyed Liverpool fans also spotted that Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain had unfollowed him on Instagram. A bit of a bitchy move.
A very bitchy move.
Yeah.
But what else do they expect from Coutinho? He's not going to write a massive, sort of FU message to Liverpool fans, is he? It's all he can do.
Yeah.
But I can understand why Liverpool fans are feeling a little bit chided by this. It's not cool to lose your best players all the time.
Especially not in the middle of the season.
Not in the middle of the season.
Never nice.
So they're going to be a little bit annoyed. But, you have to put yourself in Coutinho's position, right? We're all people. We all strive for the best. We all want to, achieve the best for ourselves, not only financially, but also sort of the satisfaction that we derive from life. And any Liverpool fan in Coutinho's position, they'd have to have a word with themselves. If they were made the same offer, would they go? Of course.
Would you like to play with Lionel Messi? Of course you would.
But and not only that, but you ask some of these Liverpool fans who were so bitter about him leaving. If you were offered to improve your lot to move to a different company, just in your day job, would you take it? Of course you would. You wouldn't say, "No, I'm so loyal to this company, I need to stay." No, you have to start looking at these players like they're people, like me and you.
Yeah. Plenty of people out there pointing out the Barca, the fact that they now have they lost Neymar, but they now have Suarez, they have Messi, they've Dembele. And Coutinho coming in at this stage of the season with them well clear of Real Madrid in the league.
Can we make an acronym out of Dembele, Messi, Suarez, Coutinho?
I mean, it would be a lot of consonants.
Yeah, we've got no vowels.
It's a mess.
Yeah,
if you've got any ideas, let us know, because we kind of need one.
I had one for Real Madrid midfield, which was Modric, Isco, Casemiro and Cruz. Mick,
that is good.
Yeah, I like that. So if you want to start picking up,
but people don't really pick up on midfield quartets as much as they do.
No. Yeah, but we need one for Barcelona. Yeah. But also, the Barcelona one was interesting because it was Nike who got out in front of the story last week, and they put out the picture of. Let's welcome Coutinho where the magic happens at Barcelona. And, we do know the history between Barcelona and Nike, and obviously Nike and the Brazil national team. And after losing Neymar, it's interesting now that they've got Coutinho in as sort of a star of the Brazilian national team back in Barcelona colours. So, maybe this
Next Paulinho is doing well for himself too.
Yeah, but,
not quite
to paraphrase Brian Marwood, who gave it to Richard Dunn a few years back, Paulinho's not going to sell many shirts. Well, he would sell a few shirts in China, wouldn't he? Because he played there.
Exactly.
Yeah, so nice time
take that back.
Yeah, I'll take it all back.
Gary Neville couldn't resist the dig though on Twitter, obviously Man United legend. He said that I like Coutinho as a player, but Neymar and Mbappe now look good value.
Well, we keep talking about it then. Neymar, broke through that glass ceiling as far as the 200 million price tag goes, and anything beneath that you would have to say is kind of market value. I mean, I was just having a chat with some people last night. We were talking about Van Dijk, 75 million for a centre back. They were saying, what's the going rate for a centre back?
Top centre back.
For a top centre back, it's 75 million. Yeah. 25 million for Johnny Evans. He would have gone for 3.5 million sort of 10 years ago. It's the whole game has changed. The whole game has changed, and at these market prices, Coutinho looks probably good value at an initial. What's the initial?
120 million euros.
So 107, 108.
You get another 40 million of bonus incentives.
Yeah, there's a lot of bonuses.
I think 10 million are easily they're going to hit, but others are Champions League, Ballon d'Or, etc.
Yeah, and the way the prices have shifted, it's going to cause clubs a lot of problems in the summer. And I'm thinking about Man United in particular here.
Really?
Yeah, because the way things are going, right. To get Lukaku for 75 million last summer. I remember when Roberto Martinez bought Lukaku for Everton for 28 million, people were going, I can't believe he spent 28 million for Lukaku.
It's all completely changed.
You wouldn't get Lukaku for 120 million now. Yeah. So United are going to have that problem when they go into the summer transfer market, where the starting price for any type of player that they need is going to be sort of 50 to 75 to 100 million plus.
But it is Man United. I feel like if you're a club with that much money as Man United have, they might be bulk a little bit of the prices. Yeah. But at the end of the day, they still have the money to pay them.
They do, but they might only be able to get maybe 2 or 3 of these top performers in for that kind of money.
Yeah, that's true. Let us know what you think in the comment section. We have a few more comments here from you guys, so we'll read a couple of them out.
Mine's is fun. He's got an iPad now. So
I love it, yeah. I'm using and abusing it. Who would be a good replacement for Sanchez if I had Rowan in his ass?
A good replacement for Sanchez at Arsenal?
Yeah.
Well, I think they might have to change the way they play a little bit because they have been accommodating Sanchez a little bit.
Lamar, this moves us nicely onto Matt.
It moves us nicely onto Thomas Lamar. Yeah. He's a very different player to Alexis Sanchez. He's, like I mentioned this a few days ago, he's quite vertical, he'll stick to the lines, but he's quite a technical player. I like Lamar, but don't expect him to be a like-for-like. He's more midfielder than attacker, I suppose, is what I'm trying to say. He's not going to be a like-for-like replacement for Sanchez.
Would he be more of a like-for-like player replacement for Coutinho?
No, I think he would fit Arsenal better.
Really?
Yeah. I mentioned it yesterday. I think the replacement for Coutinho until the end of the season should be Lallana, and then maybe assess the market from there. I think Lallana can keep Liverpool ticking over. No matter what happens to Liverpool now, if they don't qualify for the Champions League, FSG and Klopp are going to get it in the neck. Whether the reality is borne out that it's Coutinho has made that difference is immaterial at this stage, because if they don't get into the Champions League or they don't get through the next round of the Champions League, then people are going to go, you shouldn't have sold Coutinho, you would have fulfilled all your objectives if Coutinho stayed, and there's no way of counteracting that claim. So they have to fulfil those objectives, otherwise they're going to be hoisted by their own petard. Yeah,
it's going to be tough. I mean, obviously Man City are well clear at this point, but that 2 to 2nd to 6th, I guess. We're all very close. Arsenal are a tiny bit off. I think they're like...
Chelsea maybe look a little bit better. Obviously not against Norwich at the weekend. Spurs are far too inconsistent, but I think they're quite happy to write off this season because they've got so much going on. Wembley, contracts to sort out, new stadium next year. So it's a bit of an in-between season for Spurs. But Liverpool, I mean, if they don't get into the Champions League, and I'm not saying this is the case, this isn't my opinion, by the way, because I think if they don't get into the Champions League, it probably means because they're the 5th best club in England come the end of the season. I don't think Coutinho will have too much to do with it. But that's not the way it's going to be portrayed. It's going to be, you sold Coutinho, we didn't qualify for the Champions League, ergo, it's your fault.
You're mobbed with pitchforks, essentially.
Pitchforks Pitchfork media.
One of the, what could become a transfer saga in the summer, due to how good he's been playing, is Mohamed Salah and whether he might move to a bigger club than Liverpool. At the moment, there's a bit of talk about Real Madrid and the fact that Zidane is interested.
Well, look, this Zidane is interested thing, right? I was there that day, right? It was at the Club World Cup a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
We were in Abu Dhabi, and one of the Arabic language journalists that was there was an Egyptian journalist, and he said he actually apologised for the question in advance, and he said, if I could just ask you what you think of the Egyptian player Mohamed Salah. And as Zidane kind of took off the headphones to, digest the question he'd been asked, you could just see him going, how can I speak about this without making it seem like I want to buy him, So he batted down the question. It was quite, there was platitudes there. He said, yeah, I really like him as a player. He's played for Fiorentina and Roma. Yeah, he's a good player.
Essentially read out Wikipedia passages.
Yeah, and there was absolutely nothing in it. Nothing. I promise you, there was nothing in what Zidane said. But because it's very different to read a quote like that than to hear it been spoken. All of a sudden you're seeing Zidane likes Salah, and that's the way kind of layers get built upon stories. Now, if you're asking me, do I think Salah is good enough to go on and play for Real Madrid? Yes, I do.
But you don't think it's a realistic story at this point? It's a mountain out of
Not at this point, no. But I do think that the day will come, like it has with every other potential world-class player at Liverpool in the last few years. The day will come when he'll want to move on as well because he can't win his trophies at Liverpool.
Okay, so...
Sorry, Mel.
So thanks to those of you who voted in our emoji poll today. The winner we can reveal...
You never said what the poll was.
Well, they can see it. They can see it along my left-hand side there, right-hand side.
You're going to ask me, I don't know the poll today.
So the poll today is which manager you think is best at transfers. Whether it's Jurgen Klopp, whether it's Jose Mourinho, whether it's Pep Guardiola, or whether it's Arsene Wenger. Who would be your vote?
Right now, I would think... I think they all have their flaws in the transfer market.
None of the above.
Look, if selling Coutinho and getting Van Dijk and Keita is a good deal for me. But I think these are kind of the last of the managers who don't have to work with sporting directors. And I always think that working with a sporting director, a director of football, is the best way to sign players. I mean, look at Guardiola, for example. Claudio Bravo brought him in, he was useless, he had to get another goalkeeper in. Nolito, where's Nolito? He seems to buy these players and hope that maybe one of them does well. I mean, Danilo, the price he paid for Danilo, for example, I wouldn't trust Pep Guardiola with a blank checkbook, put it that way. I wouldn't trust anyone with a blank checkbook.
Yeah. Well, that's fair enough. So the winner, we can reveal, was Jurgen Klopp. He got the most votes. It's hard to argue with that. I tend to agree with you. It's not like any of them are particularly outstanding.
Happily for Arsenal, you're probably giving Klopp a lot of the credit that Sven Mislintat deserves. Because maybe you're thinking about Klopp's signings when he was at Borussia Dortmund, your Mkhitaryan's, your Aubameyangs. I think Weigl came in while Klopp was still there. These guys, absolutely top-grade performers who have then gone on to improve. And these were all signed by Mislintat, who's now at Arsenal, of course, and he's going to have more influence as the Wenger regime kind of dies down in the next couple of years. So, the credit that you're giving Klopp, you might be giving Arsenal, whoever the Arsenal manager may be in the next couple of years. Mikel Arteta, somebody like that, Freddie Ljungberg, I don't know.
Thanks to everyone for watching today. We'll be back on Thursday with another daily transfer show, and we'll catch you then.